Welcome, and thank you for downloading this week Take Aim Outdoors, the Bow Hunters Podcast. Whitetail hunting stories, tips, and gears from across country. And now, here is your host, Brandon Hammonds.
All right, boys and girls, we are live and back for a brand new episode of Take Aim Outdoor Podcast, and excited to get basically the first show done for the new year. So happy New Year to everybody, but excited to have my old friend, podcasting diva, Carrie Zylka back on the show. What's up, Carrie?
That's a good one. That's a new one, podcasting diva. I kind of like it.
See, you might have to take that. That'd be a great
I
T-shirt,
know.
wouldn't it? You need to,
Right?
You need to do that.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
How are you?
And then-
Happy
and
New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you. I'm doing
Yeah.
well. How are you?
I am good. I'm really ready to kind of just get 2017 kicked off on the right foot.
Yeah. Are you one of those New Year's resolution people? Do you have anything you want to change or improve in your life?
I am, but I basically make the same resolutions every year. Although this time I did write a blog post, and number 2 has been kind of bothering me, so I might have to adjust it a little bit. I was going to change my podcasting schedule from the 1st and the 15th. And by the time this episode actually hits, I will have written my response to New Year's resolution number 2, which is riddled with F-bombs. So if you're an adult and not shy about curse words, check it out at huntfishtravel.net.
I think that's pretty funny. I realized after I asked you that I had read your blog. You posted 5 little resolutions. Not that they're little by any means, but you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's cool. So yeah, you got if you want to hit on that for a minute, I know you're changing a little bit of your podcast schedule, which is the Hunt Fish Travel Show. So if you want to touch on that, let my listeners know and your listeners know.
Yeah. So when I first started the podcast many years ago, it was going to be like a how-to type of a show. And then a couple years later, I was like, okay, I'm not really standing out among the crowd. So I wanted to do something just a little different. I mean, a lot of people do the how-to, which I love and listen to. But I was just kind of like, I'm just repeating what everybody else is doing. So then I rebranded to the Hunt Fish Travel, where to go, where to stay, where to eat. And in the last year, I've kind of gotten away from the whole travel aspect of hunting and done more of the how-to stuff, which I love doing. Please don't misunderstand me. I like learning how to hunt. But I was like, I got a new job at work, and it's going to be like a 50-hour work week. And I'm just like, something's got to give. I just don't, I have a 2-hour round trip commute. I don't have enough hours in the day. So November 17th, I put out an episode, and I didn't do one for the rest of the year. And I was like, okay, this sucks. Maybe I'll just shift to a 1st and the 15th schedule and just do like 2 a month. And I was like, all right, that's great. And then I posted my New Year's resolution. So I was like, yeah, now it's in writing and I got to hold myself accountable. And pretty much last week, I was like, what the fuck am I thinking? Like, hell no. How about instead of adjusting my podcast episode schedule, maybe I stop freaking watching so much stupid TV or something. I'm like, how about I just
There you go.
get off the couch, stop being so effing lazy, and get shit done. And that is my rebuttal to myself.
Hey, that's cool. I think that we need to rebrand it to How to Hunt Fish Travel.
Yeah, right.
Powered by Podcast Diva.
Yeah, oh my God, that'd be hilarious. But yeah, so, and then I got I started sending out emails and lining up interviews and stuff, and I'm like, I'm just not going to be so crazy about the editing, because I'll edit a show for like 2 or 3 hours. I'll edit it until it's freaking perfect. And I'm like, I don't know that that's really all that necessary.
Oh my God, you're hilarious. I edit to the point where now every time I edit, I'm like, I can beat that edit time.
Right?
That took me 30 minutes. I'm going to make that 29:48.
See, and I'm going the opposite way. I'm like, all right, it took me 45 minutes to edit this one. Oh, but I think I might have missed some ums in there, or maybe somebody coughed or something. Maybe I should go back and listen to it again. And just stop, Carrie. Oh my God. Nobody cares that much.
Yeah, no, yeah. At least, I mean, I sort of think, in a way, it's kind of needed because it makes it authentic, and I'm fine with that. I always, which I kind of say a lot. I should call it a tagline. I always say we are live, and that's the way I kind of like it. I like it to be a little organic and some realism.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna kind of take a step back and just remove the noise, background noise or whatever, and then kind of just be done with it. Unless there is a timestamp that I know, okay, I need to edit this, comment out or whatever. But I'm not going to worry so much about the ums and the taking of the breaths and stuff. So that's all.
So with that being said, I know that I had, like I said, read your blog. And one of the things in your blog, which is basically the topic of our show today, which we're just kind of recapping 2016 and some of the hunting season and some of the how-to fish and travel to get there, so to speak. But with that being said, Carrie, I read that, and we'll kind of start this all the way back at turkey season, but I read that you kind of had noticed that you had spent a little less time in the field, a little less hunting time. So with that being said, that sounds like it's important to you because you put it in a blog. How are you going to, or first let me ask, why do you think that happened, and how are you going to adjust that for this year to squeeze out a few extra days out in the field?
Well, to be fair, so I actually went turkey hunting in May for 5 days and got very, very ill. I actually got aspirated pneumonia. So those were 5 days that I planned to be in the field that I wasn't able to be. And then it just kind of took the wind out of my sails, like just using that as an example. I had a bunch of tags for Wisconsin, and I just wasn't motivated. It just kind of bummed me out and just, like I said, took the wind out of my sails. And not that that's an excuse because I should have got my ass off the couch and gone anyway, but, sometimes you're just feeling kind of beat up and you're just like, I just really don't want to go. I just don't want to go. So little things like that next year I'm like, I don't care if I don't want to go, I'm going, period. And we did a lot of traveling this year. Like we went to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, working with them out there for their travel tourism bureau. And then we went to Hawaii for my 40th, which was in the middle of October. And that just kind of shot my whole month because that was 2 weekends that were eaten up by travel. And then we had a Halloween party in October. In November, we went down to my mom's in Arkansas for Thanksgiving. And that's our gun deer season here in Wisconsin. And then the holidays were here and we hosted Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and we threw a New Year's Eve party. And I'm just like, how about next year I just go hunting instead of throwing all these damn parties and traveling? Like, that would be great. I really think that just attributed to a lot of it.
Hey, that's all right, though. Sometimes it's called life, and you have some wonderful trips, right?
Totally. I had
followed
wonderful
along with
memories.
you, and it looked wonderful. So,
yeah.
But I'm happy to hear because I really didn't know the reasoning behind the data in your blog post. So I'm happy to hear that's basically all it was. And then you weren't like switching to crochet or some sort of weird knitting.
Underwater basket weaving is my new podcast topic. No, I just think that a lot of weekends, us normal folk can't hunt 100 days out of the year. Well, most people can't. You have weekends, you have family obligations, and you can only hunt on the weekends anyway. And when you only have 4 weekends in a month and 2 of them are taken up by travel and one's taken up because it's Halloween weekend, that leaves 1 weekend. So it just cuts in a little bit. And 2, I can't, I had that Buffalo County lease fall in my lap. And if that had come about, say, in May or June, I would have adjusted my travel plans to earlier, like in the summer. So next year, there will be better planning on Carrie's part.
So next year, which is now this year, right? 2017.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, are you already making some plans for 2017?
I have a Kansas and an Oklahoma turkey hunt set up. I'll have my lease up in Buffalo County already, and we have booked 2 weekends up north for open water fishing and already a weekend for ice fishing. So we've already got some stuff on the books set in stone that have to do with fishing and hunting, which makes me very happy because then I have to go.
So if you don't mind, tell me a little bit, because I'm a huge fan of the Buffalo County area, and I don't think you spilled the beans to me about this lease. So I want some dirt. What is this lease about? And give me some details on how a fellow podcaster can maybe flip over to Wisconsin.
So Buffalo County is really hard to get a lease in, and this fell in my lap. Like, I should have gone and bought a lottery ticket. So, for the listeners who don't know, Buffalo County is a county in Wisconsin. It's along the Mississippi River. It's the Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett trophy county for trophy deer, white-tailed deer in Wisconsin.
Yep. Like, number one all time. So let me just throw that out there. All time.
Big deer, and part of it is because there's like virtually no public land. And back in the day, some of these farmers just kind of got together and they were like, let's just lease out our property. And then there's a couple of main guys who lease many of the properties. So a lot of times, like, I lease it with two other guys, and one of the guys has another lease in Buffalo County and then two leases elsewhere in Wisconsin. And he doesn't even hunt the lease that I am on very often, but he doesn't want to give it up because he knows how hard it is to get a lease up there. So it fell in my lap. His son, actually, I had put an ad out on Craigslist looking for somewhere to go opening weekend of gun deer. And his son, for some reason, they had just lost their third partner. He had bought some land and they lost him like 2 weeks before this. So his son saw my ad and was like, well, that's not really what I'm offering. But hey, happen to know of a Buffalo County lease if you're interested. And I was like, yeah. So he sent me the details and he was like, it's 200 acres. It's archery only. The farmer does hunt it for gun, but only the second weekend. We have 135-inch minimum, and we don't take does until after the first breeding cycle. And, oh, by the way, there's a camper trailer on the property that you're welcome to use anytime you want. What? Where do I send the check? So Zach and I went up, I know, 4 days later. This was like on a Tuesday. By Thursday, I had called him and basically locked it in, went up on Saturday, took a look at it. It has, there's 25 stands up there. There's tons of trail cameras. It was basically just a setup. Here's my check, and now I can hunt. Zach and I went up there to meet the guys to make sure they weren't a bunch of weirdos. Super nice guys. And it was all she wrote. And I will, whatever it takes, keep this lease for as long as I can.
That is so cool. Good for you, Carrie, because I know firsthand, I've been, just always open to any leases, and I always ask people, and I've been trying to get just anything to say I've hunted Buffalo County one time, just to kind of add it to the list of whitetail destinations, and I've been trying since 2004, no joke. So very good for you. I hope you can keep it forever. That's amazing.
It's so crazy because with 3 people splitting the lease, it's reasonably affordable. And, well, you know what happened with the last lease. I swore I'd never do another lease ever in my life again. Never, ever, after that debacle with my Washara County lease. Oh, my God. And even that. So I'm paying less for this Buffalo County lease for 200 acres than I did for the 30 acres in Washara County. Yes, I'm sharing it with 3 guys. But still, it's insane. It just happened to be they just needed a third guy, And
that is amazing. And even with, the extra people on it, that land there in Buffalo County, there's way more surface area because of all your guys' bluffs, as you know.
Yeah.
So you're getting really twice the amount of land for that 200 acres. So that should be very easy to hunt for you guys.
You are. And you hear 200 and you're like, that's a good chunk of land, but it's not huge. Yeah, until 4:30 in the morning when you go to the totally far ridge and you're like, oh my God, I'm way on the wrong side. And then you got to hoof it all the way to the other side and you're like, this sucks. Up and down because it's shaped kind of like a W, so it has 3 ridges and 2 valleys in it. And then there's a whole tons of timber, and all the fields are in alfalfa every year. Yeah, I should have gone out and bought a lottery ticket that day, because I don't think I've ever been more lucky in my life.
No, and does that include your turkey season now as well?
It does. I can use it basically for any season except for the 9-day gun season, and they only want bow up there. They don't want guns. I don't think they'd care if I use a shotgun for turkey, but crazy, just crazy.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So how cool. So 2016 didn't work out the way you planned because you had some other great stuff going on. But 2017, so let me back up. So we got Oklahoma, and did you say Kansas turkey on the way?
Yes, Miriam in Oklahoma, and a Rio I want to go for in Kansas.
And okay, so from there, what else do we got cooking?
We've got, well, before that, we've got sturgeon spearing on Lake Winnebago in January. Of course, I'll see you next week at ATA, so that always starts the year off fun. A couple of ice fishing trips. Yeah, how fun is that?
Yeah, we should hit on that for a minute. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're going to rent a cabin up north for like a week. We found a really nice cottage up there that has like a pontoon boat right included in the rental fee. It's right on a lake, so that'll be fun. And then so far it's just the Buffalo County lease for the fall, and they might still go down to Illinois by Sharkey Outfitters. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure I'll have enough vacation for everything, but we'll see.
What we'll do is we'll get with Rob and tell him Brandon really wants to visit with you, Rob.
You can go.
Carrie doesn't have enough vacation time.
Right. So I know you have some stuff. So let's back up. Let's talk about ATA just for a minute, and then I want to hear about your season last year, because I know you had a freaking phenomenal season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's hit on some ATA. So,
okay.
As everybody knows, or if you don't know, I should say, the ATA show is the Archery Trade Association show, and it happens every year in January. It kind of is the closing the door of the previous hunting season, and it is opening the door to the 2017 or the next year products in manufacturing. And it's a yearly thing, so everybody in the industry kind of gets together and, gets to see everything, kind of reconnect, and, kind of just get to celebrate about being, archers, bow hunters, and outdoorsmen. It's a pretty awesome 3 days.
Is there anything that you're excited about seeing this year?
I'm excited about seeing myself in the Plythel booth doing the Take Aim podcast.
That's right.
So, I gotta self-promote, Carrie. I'm sorry. That's a plug. But
no.
yeah,
I
I'm
think
excited.
That's the coolest thing.
I'm excited about that. I got some, very cool guests. Sorry, go ahead.
Tell the listeners exactly what you're doing in the booth.
So yeah, we're doing the Take Aim podcast in the booth on Plythel Gear's Facebook page on the Facebook Live feature. So go to your Facebook page, type in Plythel Gear. It should pop right up. It may say Plythel Technical Gear, but just add or like them. And next week we will be doing live podcasts live in the booth with. We're going to have probably 20 different guests all within the industry on, and it'll be live. We're going to, also record it for future episodes of iTunes. And, we're just going to hum along and have some great guests on and just have a good time. It's going to be pretty wild.
So do you have date and times set aside, or is it just like on Wednesday, just tune in at 8 and keep checking back?
So I'm doing my best, because you know how ATA is, Carrie. I'm doing my best to get these guys to give me confirmation time. I have half of the guests kind of, I've twisted arms, like, give me a time or else I'm going to send Russia to hack you. So I've really put the squeeze on people. So I do have times, and I'm going to put those times out. You know, I'm going to make a post on Take Aim and Fightful together, and we're going to put a schedule out so, you know, you can tune in kind of when you want. And I know that the way that live feed works now, you can kind of go back and check that little button and check the live feeds for the day. So even if you miss like a 10:30, you know, appointment time with one of my guests, you can, you know, hop on it at a different time and still be able to see it, which is really cool.
Awesome. I'm super excited. I think that's really cool. And, you know, it's something that people always talk about, but people don't understand the chaos that is ATA and how hard it is. You set up all these, you know, you schedule these appointments and you schedule these interviews. Half time they don't show up, or you can't, one runs over 5 minutes and it just sets everything back. So good for you for taking that on.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know, I think I was just smart enough to kind of schedule way out in advance, you know, like early December, asking people. And, you know, legitly early December to now, one of the guests just, as I walked in today, Carrie, we had just talked before we did the show, somebody had just texted me back like, hey, we'll hook up. So, I mean, it's, like you said, it's a lot. But, you know, if I pull off half what I got going on, it's still going to be a great show, and I would assume people are going to enjoy it for sure.
Really cool, dude. That's so cool.
I'm excited, and besides that, I don't, you know, I'm a gearhead. I'm a techie guy, so I'm excited just to see, you know, new bows, new sights, new releases. I mean, I don't really care what brand it is. I'm just excited to go see them and then kind of make up my mind, you know, what I like and or maybe didn't like as much. So, you know, I'm just excited to go see everything. So I don't exactly have anything, I don't think, that I'm like, all right, I got to go right away. But I'm sure when I get there, and kind of like you, Carrie, you hear rumors of this or that, and, you know, I'll be probably sprinting over to those places, checking them out.
Sweet.
So how about you?
No, I am going with a completely different mindset this year. Every year I run myself freaking ragged. I line up 25, 30 interviews, you know, 5, 10, 15-minute interviews, and I'm just running, and I get zero time to actually just enjoy the show and check out the products. So this year I'm going to focus on blogging instead of podcasting. I'll have my recorder with me, so I'm sure I'll do some podcast episodes, but I don't want to say I don't get a ton of ROI, return on investment, with those for the amount of effort, but it's a very expensive show, and I kind of feel like I just want to go and take it easy, especially considering we're paying so much this year to get in.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
I don't feel like I should have to pay to work. I don't feel like I should have to pay them to promote them. So I'm just going with a little bit of a different mindset. You know, I'll be doing a ton on social media, but I'm just not going to kill myself this year like I have in years past.
Yeah, I hear you, and I know that I will be busy, but at least it's a little bit different because I'm going to like a booth and doing the stuff there instead of like, hey, let's meet over here. And all right, I got to run over here and meet so-and-so. So at least I'll be in one place where I think I'll be able to kind of relax a little more for supposedly working. But, you know, luckily, you know, like I said, that I've been able to hook up with Fightful and get this done because I'm with you. I wasn't going to, you know, so-called pay, you know, the ATA membership costs and then go there to, you know, promote archery and flip the bill myself. It like you said, it's a lot. It's a lot of effort, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I mean, let's face it. I know networking is really the only reason that, say, you and I really go. It's to make those contacts. It's to talk to people. It's to see our friends. So, and of course to create content for our blogs and our podcasts. But I think networking is more of my payoff. But I don't know. It'll be a good time.
Absolutely.
Either way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I love the networking part of it, and look forward to that as well, and look forward to all the shenanigans that we get into after the trade show, which is always fun.
I know, right? So let's talk about 2016 for you, because you had a killer year. No pun intended.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's see, where do I start? So if we go back to turkey season, man, turkey season the last 2 years has really kicked my butt. And I don't, no rhyme or reason, just I keep hitting turkey season where these birds are just henned up. And as everybody knows, if you've turkey hunted, you can't cheat Mother Nature. She beats you. So long story short, I hunted all of, I want to say, 10 of the 12 days in Michigan, the first 10 days, and I got lucky and killed a really nice, 10-inch beard tom, biggest body tom I've ever killed in Michigan. So that was cool, and I went out every day. I don't get to hunt all day because I do have a job, but, I went out every morning and, kind of just got beat by the time every day. I'd have to, get to my business and do that stuff. But on the 10th day, luckily, I got a bird. So a bird down in Michigan was fun. I didn't get to travel out of state in the spring. So, I kind of just, I go right into deer mode as soon as, you know what I mean? As soon as turkey's over, I'm kind of thinking about, running trail cameras and the velvet season starts and all that good stuff. And long story short, I hunted quite a bit in Michigan, and I was lucky enough to shoot one, let me get my dates right, November the 5th with my bow here. And then, as Carrie knows, I have a lease in Indiana, which I've talked about a little bit on the show before. And we had put a bunch of work into that lease because it was our first time, basically getting to hunt this lease. And that started way back in May, right after turkey season. So, it takes time to get familiar, so to speak, with a piece of property. We ran tons of cameras. We did everything we could to learn this place as fast as we could. And long story short, we had a deer that, 2 deer on the farm that we knew were definite shooters, so to speak. Very big deer. We knew they were, very close to that 160 range. And we knew they were mature deer. So, long story short, after the 5th, I went down there on the 7th, hunted every day, daylight to dark, to the 12th, which ironically was the day I was leaving, and literally, Carrie, that day, I was like, just go hunting. Yeah, I stayed up like a moron and watched UFC to 2 in the morning, and I was like, just get up. You got to go. You're going to be so disappointed if you drive home. So I got up somehow, 5 o'clock, that alarm hit really fast, and climbed in the tree stand. Didn't see a lot of deer. It was freezing cold. It was a great day for it. And at 10 o'clock, I was saying, man, you better start picking up your stuff. You got 4 hours to, drive home. And at 10:30, I was like, all right, just stay 5 more minutes. And then, at 10:35, I did the same thing. Just stay till 10:45. And at 10:38, I shot this deer we called the Big 9, which is, one of my best deer ever in my life. So I was super excited to do that and accomplish, just a hard hunt and accomplish just learning a new piece of property, which is, as you know, Carrie, hard, and you're going to be facing that very soon, right?
Yep. Yes.
So then we'll fast forward till December 3rd, and luckily for me, Michigan's season's pretty long. We get two tags, and I had 1 tag left, and late season archery was in, and I had enough time to get out on December 3rd. I went to a stand. Moral of the story here is it was a stand that I only hunted 1 time the whole season. And so that area of the farm, so to speak, just didn't have any kind of pressure to it. And I got up and stand, pretty early for an afternoon hunt. It was like 1 o'clock. And at 2:45, I had shot just an awesome old 5.5-year-old Michigan deer, 250, 60 pounds, just one of the biggest body deer I've ever killed in Michigan, just a really solid big, Pope and Young 10-pointer. With my bow at 30 yards. So, and he went 30 yards and fell over. I just was blown away. I've always wanted to shoot a deer in late December and, with archery gear, that is. And I finally did it. Not that I want to. I shouldn't say that, Carrie, because you always want to be done. But just I know how hard it is to kill a deer here in Michigan in general. So to shoot one in December was like just such a goal of mine. It's hard to even kind of put into words what that meant, because you just don't do that here. So so I was excited, And I forgot I shot a coyote with my bow October 3rd, so that was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Your two deer are amazing looking. They're gorgeous. Very cool.
Super excited. So excited. Matter of fact, I'm going to get my European mount. Me and a buddy had been working on the Michigan 10-pointer. We'll get him back this weekend. And then the Big 9, my buddy that's taxidermist, he said he's going to be done right around March. So I'm super excited to get him back and kind of just get to look at him.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And you are right. Late season hunting is hard.
It is. It is. It's very hard. I do hunt a lot. So, late season hunting, after you've kind of hunted so much, that motivation goes away a little bit. The weather's worse. It's freezing. And, you see less. The deer have been pressured for archery season, a youth season in most states, a gun season in most states, then Thanksgiving, which, kind of, gets people a little excited again to kind of go out and finish their last couple hunts of the year. So, just to be honest, to even see a deer, late season in December is quite a victory. So I was super pumped, and I don't brag much. I'm pretty humble, but that deer I could talk about all day. I love it.
Rightly so. I do, just touching on late season, up until this lease, I always hunted public. So late season was almost my go-to season just because there were less people out there. And last year was the first year that I've actually hunted the rut. I actually hunted it down in Illinois at Sharkey Outfitters the week of the rut. And I saw a crazy amount of what a lot of people probably would have considered shooters. I actually missed on a really big 10-point. I was so mad. But not once, but twice even. And it was, I don't know, I must have had arm fatigue or something, because I checked my bow when I got back and it was spot on at 30 yards, but he was just moving so slow and I had to hold it for so long. That's the only thing I can think of. But it was weird not hunting that late season. Like, it was kind of weird not getting out and sitting in -8-degree weather. It was kind of nice. But hunting that late season is so different than hunting like in October or September or November even. So it's so much harder, and there's so many extra challenges. So for you to get a monster like that in December in Michigan is just the ultimate trophy.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. Just, like you said, just to hit on some of that, like, December comes, and if you pay attention to deer, you kind of got to be on feed. And if you don't have feed or destination, like agriculture or food plot for them to get to, it makes it really, really rough, right? I mean, they're in storage mode. They're just trying to save energy. And if you don't have those couple things, it makes it really hard. And then, like you said, you're kind of, eventually you get beat up from.
Yep, you're beat up.
You're beat up, and so I mean, just to, like I said, go out. It was 30 degrees. I was probably complaining the whole time, and just to be rewarded like that, I'll probably never forget forever, because it just doesn't happen. So I've been trying for 20 years, so I'm excited. Nonetheless. So.
Oh yeah, you should be. That's so cool, dude.
And
I don't know how those TV shows, they have such a rigorous hunting schedule. Like you said, after a couple of weeks, I'm just so tired.
It does. It beats you up. I know, like, just the whole, in the truck, out of the truck, deer in the truck, out of the truck. And half the time I'm half naked, trying to dress, and it's 30 degrees out.
Right.
It's just eventually you're like, what am I doing? Like, what kind of person does this crap?
I know.
So, yeah, it does. But I think that's normal. We don't get to hunt full time. you have to do this and then still do your life and still do work. And, that's just honesty. You just kind of get, as much as I love to do it, and I will do it every year, and I'll probably complain about it every year, the same thing. So, it is what it is. But, hunting for, whitetail deer hunting, bow hunting, it's not easy. That's why a lot of people don't do it. It's work. It really is. So, kudos to all the people and all the, like you, Carrie, wonderful females that are out there trying to bow hunt. We need more ladies like you doing it. I think it's so wonderful that, I get to share some of the stories with you, that you're out and doing some of the stuff that us guys do. Because I'm like, I don't even know how Carrie does it because this shit kicks my ass.
Right. Thank you. So getting back. So you mentioned that you had an Indiana lease. Is this your first year? Was it? Well, okay. I keep saying this. Like I'm that person that writes 2016 on the checks for like the first month. In 2016 was Indiana. Was this the first year that you had that lease? Because you had Illinois always, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right.
What happened with that?
We had just decided that. Just this opportunity came up and we were kind of just weighing some options and just was like, you know what, it's 2.5 hours closer. It is an over-the-counter tag, and we have a hunting cabin on this.
Score.
So that just kind of, we were like, let's try it. Illinois, especially where I was, is kind of like Buffalo County, so hard to get a lease. And it's probably something we'll be like, why'd we get rid of it? But it was 100-acre lease for 2 guys, and it hunted really hard. So, just the way the land laid and the predominant wind direction, it made it really hard. Basically, only one guy could hunt it. And so we just kind of went through the pros and cons, and we were like, you know what, we're not out nothing. We both love to hunt, me and my hunting buddy. And if Indiana doesn't work out either, hey, we tried. So we just, kind of went with it and just wanted to check out something new and see if we could, so to speak, test our skills. We just kind of like to do that. So, we'll see. Who knows what this year will bring? I don't know if we're going to do Indiana again. I don't know, exactly what's going to happen, but, we have a trip to Alberta for mule deer in September. And then more than likely 99% we both will draw Iowa tags for the first time. So, we're pretty excited about 2017. I'll leave it at that.
So Iowa, Michigan, where else are you going to hunt?
Iowa, Michigan, and then Alberta for mule deer in September.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So those 3.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. So that's always been on my list. I think every whitetail hunter has got to go try a mule deer hunt at least once in his life. So, this is my time. I'm going to do it before I'm so old and decrepit I can't, can't run around the hills in Alberta.
Right.
So I'm going to do it this year and then go from there because I'm such a whitetail fanatic that I pretty much won't do anything. So I was like, I just got to go do mule deer once to, test myself, do something different.
It's so different. It's so fun. And I would like to go back from you. I'd like to go back to South Dakota this year. I almost went on an elk hunt with Mia Anstein last year, and just a couple days before, I was like, with everything going on this fall, I just can't make it work. But I might go with her this year, so I'm not sure. There's so many places to go hunt, not enough vacation days, not enough dollars.
No. Do you know where at, Carrie? Where you guys were planning, or potentially?
I just know that it's Western Colorado.
West. I didn't hear you even say Colorado.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, Western Colorado. And when I just weighed, tags are like freaking $700 or whatever, and it was too. We would have been leaving for Hawaii like 3 weeks later, and so Hawaii's not cheap, and it's not like I'm rich, so I just couldn't justify spending like another $1,500 before we were about to go drop several $1,000 and just
on a trip of a lifetime in Hawaii. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and plus I knew I'd be tired afterwards. Just, it would sucked if I'd have gone and like broken my leg on the mountain or something. And, just everything. I was like, how about I just go to Hawaii and maybe go elk hunting next year? But I might
Yeah, that's super cool.
I might do mule deer in South Dakota this year. Pat Flanagan has offered his property. He owns some property up there, and he's like, you can go hunt there. And I was like, I might take you up on that this year.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but there's so much public land up there, it doesn't even matter.
Just let me know if you need a podcasting mule deer guide.
I think you should go. I think you should go with me. I think we should get a couple people together and just go kill some mule deer.
Let's go do it. I'm in. Let's do it. I'm in. I'm the one guy you don't have to ask twice about killing.
I know.
Somewhere to kill something.
Do you do a lot of fishing?
I don't anymore, just out of, I'm not kidding. I spend so much time doing whitetail stuff that I've kind of was like, you know what? I have a wife, I have a son, I have, a business, and I don't want anything to ever affect my relationship with them. And I don't want to be that guy. So I've given up everything, even golf, pretty much. I've given up everything besides, me doing my whitetail bow hunting stuff. So I can do what I love and not affect anything else. And, it is what it is. I love fishing, nothing wrong with it. I can't make the time or the effort. And especially, Carrie, like I live out of town. I don't see my wife and son as it is. So I don't want another hobby, so to speak, where it would take me away from them. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you, as a business owner, you work like twice as many hours as the normal 9-to-5er. So I get it.
I'm always busy. I'll be there this weekend until the moment we leave for ATA. So
yeah.
But I hate to do this, Carrie. My phone's gonna die. So.
Oh, that's okay. We can wrap it up. I think we covered everything anyway.
Yeah, I think so. So
we'll do a quick outro.
Let me know. I know where I can find you, Carrie, but let everybody else know where they can find you and your show. And once again, Carrie, thanks for doing the podcast with me, and thanks for being an awesome, badass female bow hunter.
Same here. It's always fun to do crossover episodes with some friends. You can find me
it's fun.
on Twitter or Instagram at Carrie Zylka, CarrieZylka. Go to huntfishtravel.net to find how to subscribe to the podcast. You can find me on iTunes or Podkicker, and you can find all my social media there. And why don't you tell my listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on the Outdoor Podcast channel every Tuesday, and you can find me on podbros.com, iTunes, Take Aim Outdoors, Twitter, Instagram at BHams21, and we have a Take Aim Outdoor Facebook page as well. And basically, I try my hardest to get out a show every Tuesday to everybody. So, yeah, I'd love it if you guys checked out the show, and very much appreciate it. So that's it. But thanks so much, Carrie. Let's do this again. Right. Let's not take a year and a half off of cross-promoting next time.
Right. And I will see you in just a couple of days, and we'll have some beers.
Absolutely. Safe travels to ATA, and we will see everybody later.